We're live. We can just keep talking. This is Hello, everyone.
Well, hello, everybody.
We're talking about drywalling, which
yeah.
But I know a guy who blew out his shoulders because he had to drywall so much. He had to hold, just hold it with one hand, So he did it professionally. He was in construction.
There's a lot of that in drywall and stucco because they're carrying those heavy pallets to apply the stuff, and they're often wearing stilts, and it can be pretty hard on the body. Yeah, almost as bad when carpet layers. When they roll carpet into the corner of a room, there's a strip of stuff that you kick the carpet into that holds it tight, holds it snug. So you put stuff called smooth edge all around the room, and then your underpad, and then you put the carpet on top, and you kick. There's a kicker that has little claws in it that pushes the carpet towards the wall, and it's got a big square pad on the back of it, and you ram it with your knee. And there's so many carpet layers who've destroyed their knees using these tools.
I was going to say, that sounds like you're breaking and entering, like you're kicking the door. So Glenn, I just want to let you know, brother. Okay. So now you're making weird background sounds there for a minute.
Yeah, I just got back from doing grocery shopping.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was listening to your podcast while I was in Costco and Walmart. So
our Costco's not open yet.
Yeah. Well, you're what? It's what?
7:02.
Yeah. I was just saying is there a way we can just jail all the Proud Boys, just with no charges?
Nice segue.
Yeah, I know. Right? I feel like I'm in therapy, and my therapist just asked me if I had a magic wand, what would I do? It's like, maybe jail all the Proud Boys. Maybe that's what I would do.
We gotta start calling that the Canadian segue, just to transition.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted. Go back. That was
no, that's quite all right. We were just muttering on about drywall and home improvement.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not doing home improvement right now because I'm renting. So it's just when we move into a place that we can when we move into a place that we actually own, and do some home improvement.
Mm.
Yeah. So
I was just going to say, it's just after 3:00 here in the afternoon, and we've had quite a nice day actually. Sun's been out, and I've had quite a productive day winding the Christians on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Oh man, I've had a right day. I don't know if I can share my screen, can I?
Oh yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
I don't know if you heard, but here we're very out of a snow advisory, and it's a good thing I didn't get my winter tires off yet. So
that's great, dude. That's great. Yeah. That you have a snow advisory right now. So I know that Sammy has been able to, or now the 420 atheist, as he's now known, has shared his screen before. So it is possible to do.
Right. Well, I've put share screen. So has that come up?
It hasn't come up in my in where I am, because I think I have to hit the button to share your screen.
Right. Hang on. Yeah, do that. And
it's easier to do if you're dual screening for some reason.
I think I've just it. Right, share screen.
Oh, hey, all right, we got something. We got another screen, and here we go.
Right,
so,
can you see that?
Yeah, Joel White. I was just blocked by a Christian moderator.
Right, so Facebook's going to be the death of me. I see comments on Facebook and I try and ignore them, and sometimes I can't, and then I get myself into bother. So the comment I commented on was, fun night. I was just blocked by a Christian moderator on the Atheist versus Christian, the real debate forum, after complaining an atheist religious fanatic called me stupid. Personally, after explaining how atheists often lie about their religion not being a religion, I even cited Einstein, a college philosopher department website, and the Webster Dictionary before they provided the most convincing, direct empirical evidence themselves. Fun times. The end seems to be so far, right? And then I commented How does a lack of belief in a God make a religion? Why do many religious people want to brand atheism as a religion and say we have faith also? It sounds to me like you are just saying, I know you are, but what am I? 84 replies. So the fun begins. Right, let's have a look. Is it going to let me see the replies? Why can't I see them? Right, are these my replies here or not? How do I get to see my replies? Oh, hang on. How do I?
You know, at times I almost want to say, you're right.
Go on.
You're right. We're a religion. Why am I echoing?
Yeah, it's for some reason it's not going to let me go to the replies. Why won't it let me see the replies? I can't click on them. I can't click on the reply, so I can't go. Why can't I do that? Anybody know? I wonder if I refresh the. Will that
No,
not happen?
My kids would say, God, I'm echoing.
I'll try and refresh the page and see what that does.
My kids would say it's because you're geriatric.
Yeah, you're probably right. Now the internet's going slow here. I'm basically piggybacking off my mobile phone. So I've just pressed refresh the page and it won't let me refresh it. It doesn't seem to be refreshing.
it's just another wonder.
Yeah, that's annoying because it's a shame I can't go to the replies because there's some good ones in there I wanted to go through. We can't wait for it to become responsive. Oh, it's at the page. Right. Here we go. Hey, it's done it. Few more. Oh, what's it doing now? Hang on. Oh, God, technology. I got the replies there and then it's... Oh.
That's all right.
Right, is that trying to load them now then?
We could probably brainstorm the replies out of replies we've seen for the last 10 years, right?
Yeah, you probably could, but it's a shame I can't show you some of the replies because it went onto the Turin Shroud or the Shroud of Turin as evidence for Jesus. Which here we go. I'll skip the first bit. It basically says you just don't want to believe. So I put LOL. Earth less than 10,000 years, Adam and Eve, people living to 900 years old, a world flood, two of all animals living on a boat for a year, talking snakes, donkey and a bush, virgin birth, rising from the dead, and also so-called miracles. I'm not going to be able to show all of it. It's not going to come up, is it? It's going that slow. It's a shame because there's some really good ones in here. Then I put all you have is Ken Ham and Ken Hogan, LOL pseudoscience. Then all the rest started coming. Then he tried to give me some evidence. This was a fun one. It was basically a doctor that has looked into what happens when people die. You know, people get these near-death experiences and basically they can see. Basically, all is a doctor. He doesn't say anything about God or Jesus or afterlife or anything like that. It's just how science has progressed into trying to work out what happens when people die and the stage where they can bring them back. So there was nothing in that to make any difference, to be honest.
Well, you see a lot of these replies from Am I echoing back?
Yeah, you're echoing, yeah.
Let me fix this.
I was just muting myself.
So anyway, I responded back to him, LOL, wow, none of that proves a God. When science claims a God did it, I will take notice. Then he's put back. It does, for those of us who understand basic science. He claims, he does claim to be a scientist, to be fair. And it proves your atheist religion literally forces you to be unable to discuss any scientific details without just reasserting the baseless, admittedly ignorant religious claims again. Shares a news report. So I put pseudoscience, all praise Einstein. He goes into Einstein all the time, claiming that Einstein wasn't an atheist. He was actually a Christian. And like I pointed out to him, it doesn't matter what his belief was anyway. It makes no difference to me what he believed. What did I put there?
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. And then he started off with his memes. Oh, and then he started with his insults because he started calling atheism a cult. Oh, yeah, it says there. Look, definition of religious cult. Basically, he starts calling it a cult, saying we have faith. We have blind faith. We don't believe anything, even science.
You're never going to convince somebody who's this convinced that they're right.
Oh no, I know.
Well, that's the thing.
I'll go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I was about to. If you're going to call something a cult, what's religion?
Yeah, I mean, really, what's the difference between a cult and a religion? In a cult, the leader is alive and knows he's lying, and in a religion, the leader is dead.
Well, that in about hundreds of thousands of years of indoctrination.
Yeah.
Scientology, a cult. Christianity, religion, any different?
You
No,
might
just
have
it.
to.
Like you say, just the length of time that it's been here. Really, that's the only difference, isn't it?
So, is anyone else getting savage echoes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit. When I talk to
Testing.
it wasn't working really well.
All right.
Seems a little bit loaded.
I've tried muting my StreamYard and my microphone, and microphone canceling the echo.
So yeah, as you can see, I had fun today with all these. I'll probably have to do a stream myself actually when I'm at home because, like I say, I'm piggybacking off the mobile phone, so it's struggling to load them up. If I press to see more, it'll struggle to load them up. So I might have to do one going through all the different comments, but some of them have me chuckling. They really did.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of more or less know when it's when they start personal insults, if they know you, do they block the argument?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I said to him further up. I said, if you actually look at your comments that you put in, you're actually starting to get insulted. You don't seem to want to discuss more. Yeah, you don't seem to want a discussion, more insults. Set up a stream and we can have a discussion, basically. I basically offered him to go live. I like put here, Joel, stop the insults. I don't react to them. It's not productive.
Yeah,
that's
Sammy's actually
doing was getting
backstage.
There's what? Sorry.
Sammy's in the backstage.
Oh right.
Are you guys getting an echo?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's better.
It's been pretty good for mine.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else open.
All right, I'm going to unmute myself. And I'm still echoing like crazy. And yeah, I don't understand why. Because I have headphones on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to bring Sammy in. And
Paul.
Sam says he can fix it.
Mute. Okay. See? Oh, see? I've been trying to get in. When the only person who doesn't echo is the person causing the echo.
Oh. But I can still hear the echo.
Oh, you might have to refresh it,
So you
or
think
like
it's
drop out and come back.
Okay, I'm going to drop out and then come back.
Are we just?
Paul.
Am I echoing?
Yeah.
Am
You
I
try and
echoing?
drop out and come back, Paul.
I'll
Hey,
Well,
leave
yeah,
in
I'm
10
sorry.
minutes. So I'm going to jump out anyway.
Okay, good seeing you, Paul.
Yeah, it's a shame I couldn't share that. I'd like to have gone through a few of them.
Yes. Technical difficulties. It happens, man.
It's probably me, like I say, I'm piggybacking off a mobile phone, so it's
Right.
so it's probably too
All right.
much of a bandwidth, and it's not a great signal here, to be fair.
All right.
So-
Well, that could do it. Yeah.
Right, I'll jump out. Hiya, Tobin. Looking forward to the song.
Right on. Yeah, that was a good topic. It wasn't even in my head yet. Like I have notes and stuff that's previously written, and your idea is I haven't even thought of it yet. I've heard people talk about it, but I'm excited for it. But I don't want to say too much because I want it to be kind of a surprise.
A surprise. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I look forward to it coming out. Anyway, I'll jump out. I'll still be listening in about 5 minutes' time. I'll get my phone in my car. I'll stick it on. I'll carry on listening. It's just a shame that I couldn't say that, but I'll probably have to do a stream myself. And we're echoing now. Anyway, I'll jump out. I'll catch you all later.
Take care, Paul.
Later, man.
All right. Yeah, that was driving me crazy. And that's a short trip for me. Crazy. Going crazy. Being there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think when with all of it, well, I've been home for 3 times in a year now, off of work. This is me and Crazy are roommates right now.
Very good.
Yeah. But you know what? You try to entertain yourself, YouTube, TV, Netflix, and all that, and just, especially during the winter, it's not like you can go out when it's like minus 15 degrees,
Oh,
Although
yeah.
you don't want to go out. You can go out, you just already don't want to,
I just ride the elevator up and down in the building because eventually somebody will get on with a dog and I get some free dog therapy.
Yeah.
At the pooch.
Yeah. My cats are my therapy.
Yeah. Yesterday I met a dog named Bouncy.
Oh wow, that's a cool name.
Yeah, a little fluffy white dog. He was very bouncy, or she. Hard to tell from the name.
Yeah. How's your cat hunt going, Andy?
I'm going, as many of you know, I'm heading down. I have to put it on pause for a minute because I'm heading down to North Carolina over the weekend. And so once I get back on Sunday, we're going to restart it on Monday.
Yeah.
And because, we didn't want to adopt a cat and then suddenly be gone for 3 days.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Like a cat face magnifying glass cat search 2021 header on here and just do an update every day at the start of the show. Yeah.
Yes, we had to put it on pause, Gary Priestley. We had to put it on pause.
That's funny. I like puns.
I like puns too.
Don't they have like a because where I got ours is we got ours in adoption through the SPCA through a pet store. Don't they do that kind of stuff in your area? Or
it's very competitive to get a cat right now.
Wow.
We've been in queue several times only to have the cat that we were thinking about plucked from our hands. So it's competitive.
I guess now with people home, like they want companionship and
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. So
or they ran out of food.
Nice day.
Oh God. Is it too politically incorrect to say we're not in China?
I think it is. I think it is, Glenn.
Way over
I think
the
it
line.
is. You're going to get the American Humanist Association is going to take away your award, which they were right to do. Don't get me wrong. They were right to do.
What's funny is after all the stuff you've talked about today, that's the line that's going to get you demonetized.
Oh, that's completely it. You're right. That's the thing that they're going to take. Yeah, that's the thing that's going to get me into trouble.
Oh, jeez.
If that's me, if it's my if it is all me, I apologize.
Okay.
So
Don't worry. My videos get demonetized on the regular anyway. So
would it be busy? Would it be easier for you guys to adopt a cat where you're going? Have you looked into that? Just import a cat.
Oh, I like that idea. You know, I should talk to my sister and ask her if she has a cat around, because she might have an adoptable cat. I hadn't thought about that, Dave. I'm glad that you're on the team. I'm glad you're on the team.
I'm on
to
Team
make these
Cat.
kind of suggestions. You're on Team Cat, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm pretty good for a guy with a half a cup of coffee in me.
That's good. Yeah.
Is your sister in North Carolina then?
Yeah, my sister's in North Carolina. She's right by Fort Bragg. I guess that's the name of the big military base down there.
Yeah.
And so, So we're doing the crazy 12-hour drive on Friday morning, hanging out with her all day, and with Mom, right, on Saturday, and then we're doing the crazy drive back on Sunday.
How long is it?
Now, Andy, you had this is genetic mom, but
This is genetic mom.
You had a mom, like you had a mother figure in your life at some point.
Yeah, yes, it's I have a genetic mother, and I also have a borderline mother too.
How is your I'm unfamiliar with the situation, but you were adopted into a family, is that correct?
I was adopted when I was like maybe 3 months old. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So how is adopter mom handling the idea? I
understand. And I really have been trying to figure out how to say idea without the R at the end. And it just doesn't sound right.
It's regional. I like it. It's good.
Right. So I don't stay in contact with my borderline mom, primarily because, evil. They're just evil Christians, I guess.
Okay.
With a lot of psychiatric. Whenever I do my hour-long special, if I ever do one, it would be an exploration of my dad who had PTSD from Korea, and my borderline mom, and my sociopath sister, not blood related, who was also adopted from another family. It would be. I probably have about a good 20 minute on those.
And you ended up a comedian. Who'd have thought?
Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed?
Well, with that background, you're the comedian. You're a serial killer, right?
Exactly. Well, I don't have a head injury to my knowledge, and so that probably is what's keeping me keeping me in check. Hey, what's up, Pasta Mike? Glad to see you here.
Hey, Pasta.
Oh, I saw in the chat earlier Jesse Bear wanted to jump in, but was nervous.
Oh, Jesse Bear should. You should jump in, Jesse Bear, especially since we have now all the technical issues. We've been waiting, actually.
Yeah,
we
we
are gentle.
steamrolled the first 15 minutes, but we're good now.
Drove it right into the ditch.
And I have some good news.
Oh, what do you got?
And actually, it's interesting. Hammett Matt, I hate trying to pronounce his name. Hammett Matt, reported on this in November. So Australia had its Royal Commission into child sex abuse in institutional settings, and they one of the findings was that the government ended up setting up a redress scheme for victims, and certain institutions had to agree to sign up to this redress scheme or risk losing their charitable status. Now, of course, they all did, except a particular Boy Scouts group. So not all of the Boy Scouts, just one, particular club, and the Jehovah's Witnesses, of course, and a few other small, strange, bits and bobs. Long story short, it's just come out today that they've sort of turned around, put their tail between their legs, and actually joined the redress scheme. So congratulations to
That's awesome.
That's good.
all of those victims. It's
Yeah. Well, we actually had a massive problem in Canada. I don't know when it was. I think it finally ended around the 90s, where we were taking Native Canadian kids, basically kidnapping them and putting them in Christian schools to take their religion and thing. Dave, you can remember what were the schools called? Do you remember?
Can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. So basically trying to take all the culture out of these native Canadians from whatever tribe they were, and they were just going to take their history and just kill their history. And there was a lot of abuse that went on in that, and weirdly, I think it was actually late 80s or early 90s when they finally closed those schools down. 90s, if you think about that.
90s, wow.
Yeah, and it went on for over 100 years, I think.
Yeah,
and
they were called residential schools.
Yeah, residential schools. There was actually you can find it on YouTube. I think it's about a half an hour or an hour special. I don't know if it was on W5 or stuff, which is one of our news programs, kind of like 60 Minutes. And they did a whole thing about that, and it was scary what happened. It was the fact that we're still doing it, like, in my lifetime.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't bad enough that they started doing this, but they kept doing this until, like, I think it was 94. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Like, you talk about a past due date. These guys were 30 years over.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, everyone talks about how the United States treats the natives. Canada wasn't much better.
Yeah.
No.
We have a lot of scars that we got to fix in what we've done to our natives.
Having kids helps me get an appreciation for time, because I mentioned like the 1990s, which to me is relatively recent.
Yeah.
For them, it's like in the before time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's weird that you think about it, because I think of the 1990s as not that long ago.
Oh yeah.
And then you think about it and it's like, oh wow, that happened, because it's weird, because I think because I'm being a sports fan, I'm going, man, the Blue Jays won in this. I go, holy crap, that's like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Well,
it's 30 years. And it's we moved to Canada in '89, which is, God knows, that's 30.
Was it like this for anyone else, or just like because I was a child of the '80s? But my entire life, it seemed, was this big build up to the year 2000. And after that, like, time just flew.
I will.
It was like this massive anticlimax, by the way.
For me, it was 2000, and then 2000. 9/11 happened. Of course, here in the States, and that was like the sign in my understanding of time and my experience of time. And then I have from the 80s up till 2000, up until 9/11, and then it's now. And now, right here, it's like, I know I've done stuff for the last 20 years. Like, I've had kids, and I've worked, I've gotten divorced. But it's weird like that.
Yeah. No, it's, when they say time flies, it really does. Like, it's, you don't think of it. That's, I look back, I go, where did the last 20, like, I'm 46 now. Where the hell did the last 20 years of my life go,
Well, this is actually a psychological principle that I know that we've talked about here on the channel before, is that the more you have of something, the less you're able to perceive the changes in small amounts, in graduated amounts. So, the more time you have under your belt, the less you can actually, really grasp it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the older you get, the faster time goes, just because you're more conscious of keeping track of time.
Yeah, well, and the way it was, I sort of understood it, or had it explained, was it's a proportional thing. So when you're 5 years old, 1 year is a fifth of your entire existence.
Right.
Whereas when you're 50, 1 year is only a 50th of your existence.
Yeah.
So how you perceive an amount of time changes with the amount of time you have existed.
Yeah, sure enough. I will say something about COVID-19 is that I've gotten to appreciate the vastness of time, like some kind of H.P. Lovecraft character slowly going crazy. It's like, wow, there's just a lot of time in the world. It's like I got like a flashback to when I was really young, when a Saturday afternoon seemed like an eternity. It's like, wow, I really have to be streaming right now, or I have to be writing just so that this experience of time doesn't drive me nuts. Yeah.
If you ever want to see something really cool, look up the man hours that are involved in an infrastructure project, like a bridge or a skyscraper or something like that. And when you see how many actual physical man hours are involved in that, and you realize there's 1,000 people working on that building 10 hours a day, every day, from the time it starts to get it done in 2 years, and the extraordinary amount of actual time when you add up each person's hours and put it in a linear, something to look at that way, it's extraordinary that we can do this and organize it and keep track of everything and do it properly for the most part, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is an amazing accomplishment when you see something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, we think about our life as it's the old cliche that when you think about your life, that if you live to 100, that how long the world's been around, that you're just a speck, like you're just a speck of sand in the whole time of the world. And
well, this is why it's easy, and I'm thinking, because I write horror short stories every once in a while, and so I think about drowning in time, right? Because you think about exactly. Like you can live to be 100. I'm 52 right now, and I feel like, wow, that's a good amount of time. But it's like, I was talking to my kid the other day. It's like I could be around for another 35 years or so, and her response was, "Well, how do you know that?" She had a look of horror on her face. It's like, well, that's what my insurance company tells me.
Yeah.
And she had a horror about, oh my God, I'm going to be hanging out with Dad for 35 more years.
How do you know you're going to live to be 94? Oh, I did a Cosmos survey.
Well, that's about it. Well, it's that's about as accurate as you can get, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you take a Cosmos survey, or you believe in religion, I take the Cosmos survey.
Yeah. I will say this: knowing about my genetic parents now gives me a better perspective about when the expiration date is on Andy Hall.
Yeah.
Right. So my dad lived until his 80s, which was pretty decent. My mom seems to be doing, health issues. We'll see what happens. But at least my dad pushed into his 80s. So, that's what I'm hoping for. That's my aspiration. Until I become 80, when I'm thinking maybe I can make it to 90 or 100.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be here with you.
Except it'll be beamed right into our heads, our brains.
Just something completely off topic. In the US, do you guys have to pay for the COVID vaccine in the US?
I haven't heard or known of anyone who's had to pay for it.
So is it supplied by the government then, or?
Yeah. I didn't have to show my ID. I didn't have to show, and even with my COVID tests too, I think basically they're free. I mean, the city that I live in, Somerville, Massachusetts, there was a testing site right down the street. Actually, there were 2 testing sites within walking distance at different times, of course. But they don't really care.
Wow. Yeah, over here, my wife had to get tested, and it cost over $70. It was but Kindred herself didn't have to pay for it. Her employer ended up paying for it, but he had to do the whole entire restaurant.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. 70.
Well,
it was more than $70 a head.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that's why, like, everyone always says that, talks about socialized medicine, and it's like, I can't see people that are against it go, well, if you've I've been in it ever since I've known, Like I had it in Canada when I had it when I was in England. I don't know if it was in South Africa. I don't remember. I was way too young to remember, you know. So, but I just don't know like how you can force a person to pay for a COVID test. You know, it's just like it's ridiculous.
Well, it's stupid too.
Hospital and I've been covered ever since.
There's a story about Jim Jeffries, the comedian, who's from, I believe he's Australian, but he was in London, or he was somewhere in England. And after a show, some irate customer like smacked him in the head and, you know, basically knocked him out. So he went to a hospital, didn't get charged for the hospital, mind you. And then the government gave him like 500 pounds as and I'm sorry, you can look at the bit online somewhere floating around on YouTube, but that's the beauty of socialized medicine. Yeah.
I just, you know what, I couldn't imagine having to decide between rent and paying my insurance, my medical insurance. I just couldn't.
Every fucking day people have to deal with that kind of problem here in the States. Yeah. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've gone through it.
Yep.
And the worst part is you still have people that believe in the system. Like this, like I don't know what the percentage of the U.S. that want like universal health care, but it's still there's a big percentage of that
in the
want.
70s.
What?
The percentage of people who want universal health care in the United States is in the 70s. I think it's 72 or 74%.
Yeah. But it comes down to low information, because I bet you that a lot of the people that don't believe in socialized medicine are the ones at the poorest end, because they're low like I don't mean to be rude, but they're low information, and they'll buy anything and they'll believe any bullshit that their politician, and it's usually red states that do this.
It's tribal politics. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know? So if you're part of a particular tribe, you're more likely to vote for the interests of the people in charge of that tribe, whether or not it's good for you personally.
In the United States, you have to remember that the majority of people fall into the middle and lower income.
Oh, yeah.
So when the people on the right are saying we can't do socialized healthcare because it would cost all of the people in the middle and lower income so much in taxes to do this. Well, they can't even afford healthcare outside of it. Let's put a little tax on everyone and socialize healthcare.
Yeah.
And the obvious answer to the question is look at Australia, look at Canada, look at Great Britain, look around. Everybody else is doing it and it works.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, the thing is, they've costed out what it would cost to put socialized medicine in the US, and it's cheaper than the people would be out financially better, because they might pay a little extra in taxes, but they wouldn't pay anything in insurance. They would pay less in insurance,
except for the people who cannot afford healthcare right now, who can't afford health insurance. Those are the people who it would cost more.
Yeah.
You know, and for middle class people, and I've once again, you know, I've said, you know, all my money is cancer money. Everyone in the States here, you think you have assets, but it's not. You don't have assets. What you have is a cancer fund. That's what you have, because I think 1 in 3 Americans are going to get cancer at some point. And even if you have quote unquote good health insurance, that's no guarantee you will be protected.
Yeah.
So all your money is cancer money for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. It's just that I actually I'm sad for the people that, because I don't know, how does it work? Because if you're really poor, you get what, Medicaid or Medicare?
Yeah, it's one of the free, but that goes from state to state too.
Yeah,
as Tobin, you know, showed with the entire the test or the shot and everything. You know, it goes from state to state. I had a girlfriend after my divorce, and she was dirt poor, even poorer than me. And people are thinking to themselves, "That was really poor, Andy." It's like, you're right, really poor. My joke that I came up with when I was dating her was that my sexual fantasy is that she has health insurance. and it was true. I got anxiety attacks over it. But she was so poor. There's a great facility down in Boston, Fenway Health, and she was able to get a root canal for $8, which is usually costs. Now, I've never had a root canal. I know that it can cost hundreds of dollars. at least. And so she was able to get all kinds of services because she was like the poorest of the poor. And she happened to be living in the right area too at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
most Americans have that.
Because because if you're middle class, you're really screwed because you make too much to get Medicaid or Medicare, but you don't make enough to be able to afford health insurance, pretty much, right?
Yes. If you're in the middle class, then once again, you can be lulled into the belief that you have quote unquote good insurance. And then you realize that I had a job a couple of years ago that offered me cancer insurance. And I swear to God, it's like, you mean I get paid if I just get cancer? And I thought this was the best insurance of all. And then I thought to myself, I wonder if there's super cancer insurance too. So there just seems to be ways of the industry, the healthcare industry here in the States has just ways of squeezing people for more and more money.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the problems that exists in, I think, particularly in North America. But if you've ever gone to a business meeting amongst the elite, one of the things that comes up is how heavily invested in or how much ownership they have in insurance.
Yeah.
Because whether it's car repair insurance, job loss insurance, health insurance, they know for sure, the companies that do that, they know exactly how much they're going to have to pay out beforehand. They can balance that out over hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of people. And if you look at the latest one is that CarShield car insurance.
Oh, CarShield. I hate those commercials. Why do you trigger me so?
Sorry. It's a brutal scam because they know there are certain things in your car that if you don't have maintenance records for your car, they don't cover it. If it's a factory flaw, they don't cover it. If it's the result of an accident, they don't cover it. If it's the result of a mechanic doing something wrong, they don't cover it. So the only things that they cover are things that would anomalously go wrong with your car that shouldn't. And most of those are covered under factory warranty. So if they're factory warranty, you don't require insurance for them. So this whole thing is a scam. And people are paying $40 a month. Hundreds of thousands of people are paying $40 a month to insure their car. And their chances of getting paid by these companies are less than 50%. And there's a $500 deductible.
Is that in the US?
Yeah.
It's in the US, yeah.
Yeah. We see that. You see, I don't think our health insurance goes far enough in Canada because my dental's not. I don't know about out in BC, Dave, but in Ontario, our dental's not covered, physio's not covered, glassware's not covered, glasses are not covered, dental, physio, like chiropractic care is not covered. So you're covered. Like if I go to a hospital and I need surgery, or I go to a hospital for any reason, like any doctor's visits, anything that. It's also medication is not covered, so it's a good thing I'm on. It's a good thing I'm on my other half's medical plan that she gets through her work because otherwise there's stuff like I go to chiropractor at least once a month. That's covered up to $300-400 or something like that. But I mean, it's still there's not near. I don't think we go far enough.
Yeah.
In our coverage. Is it same out in BC, Dave?
It's different and it changes every few years when they reorganize the system. It changes and there's a little bit of dental or there's like 2 cleanings a year that are covered. I think your first pair of glasses is covered. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, you're lucky there.
But remember, in Canada, we have 37 million people nationwide. They have that in California.
Yeah.
Like they're a different system. It's a different animal. They'd have so much money going into the system. And in Canada, they've also recognized that healthcare starts at diet, exercise, well-being, mental state, all those things are incorporated in. So the government actually funds those things.
But how can you make money
It's
off of people
disgusting.
not being sick?
But also the thing is, this is yeah. Sorry,
There's
go
a
ahead.
woman
Kevin.
I know. There's a person I know who is basically from their birth they had issues that were like really bad issues. She's grown up this way, and now this is an elderly person basically now, and she relies on Medicaid and a lot of that kind of stuff, and she just so happens to also like cannabis. And some months ago, she got a test taken, and they found it in her system. And they, the hospital that she was going to, ended up kicking her out. And she had to go somewhere else. But she had to go through that whole process of like getting help again.
What bullshit! That is just bullshit.
Yeah.
It's can't hear you, Dave. Where you at, Dave?
I muted
There you
you
are.
to the kitchen. I've heard of people who they went to a hospital for medical care. Or they got taken by ambulance, and that hospital didn't include their insurance coverage, so they had to be moved to another hospital. Like, what the hell? Like,
Well, it's I watched the movie Sicko, the Michael Moore one. Just shows like, hey, you got to pick which finger you want us to reattach, or you're in a car accident and you weren't pre-approved for that ambulance, but you can't say no to that ambulance because you're unconscious. You know.
Whenever
what's
I
crazy?
had teeth work. Oh, I'm sorry, Andy.
Oh no, go ahead, Toby. You're ready. Go ahead. Go.
What I had a choice. They gave me a choice. They were like, you could get this done, and I'm looking at them thinking, well, of course I want the badass thing. Yeah, of course, but yeah, I have to go with option A. I'm kind of I don't really have that second option y'all are offering to me.
Right.
the
I
idea,
would like it. Will y'all give it to me? I mean, I'll take
idea
it.
that somebody would have to choose between your insurance coverage will cover us cutting your foot off, but your insurance coverage won't cover us reattaching your foot so that you can use it in the future. That'll cost $80,000. The thought that somebody would have to make that decision, sell your house and keep your foot,
Yep. It is crazy. When I was managing a couple of residences for people with disabilities, I had to the Mass Health, their dental policies changed, and so the insurance policy stopped covering for their dental plans unless they were part of their specific individual service plan. So in other words, if you didn't have people advocating for you and you had a disability here in Massachusetts, then your dental coverage just disappeared. It's been since fixed, from what I understand. But yeah, for a period of time, it's like you had to just make out more paperwork and start advocating with you. And hopefully your dentist was someone we had a great dentist. So he was more than happy to help us advocate for the people we were working with, the participants. But yeah, I imagine there were a lot of people with disabilities back then who just couldn't access a dentist because they were poor and they didn't have anyone advocating for them.
Yeah. But what's do you think this thing, just like pot, like this universal, it'll have to start at the state level to get like momentum? Like different states will have to start to do it and then it will maybe get done at a federal level.
I know Vermont tried it, and it didn't work out. I know that Massachusetts was the model. We were Obamacare before Obamacare. Yeah. So there is something to be said for states being these little labs, these little scientific labs about policies. But I don't know. It seems that healthcare is so big and such a big problem. Only the federal government can do something about it on a federal level. It isn't like Massachusetts. It's like World War II. Could Massachusetts fight Germany? I don't know. That sounds kind of insane. So So I think the federal government would actually have to pull its head out of its ass and do something serious about healthcare. But there's so many moneyed interests. That's a hard lift, and especially when you have a lot of Democrats as well as Republicans in the pockets of insurance companies.
The problem with the insurance industry in the United States is because there's so much money in it, and that money fuels a lot of the PACs and super PACs. So until you deal with the electoral problems, you're always going to have the contamination of that into the system, and it's going to be impossible to motivate. It's going to take a champion for this, a young person who's had enough, who's had a tragic event in their life because of this, or maybe a group of people will get together and get into, obviously, into some left-wing party and push this with the financial support of somebody who, like Elon Musk or somebody with an exorbitant amount of money to put into this, so they can drive an advertising campaign in every state to show people, here are the actual realities of what's going on. These are the people responsible. We need to vote them out of office so that we can get you universal basic health care. And it's going to take years, probably 2 election cycles, to get through that. So the amount of money and effort and dedication required to that is a lot. It's a big ask.
But I was about to say, what are we wishful thinking about now? Sorry, Dave.
I'm just saying, 420. I like your T-shirt. I've seen them like 16 times.
16. That's a lot.
Yeah, actually no, 15. I was supposed to go see him when I was in England. I was supposed to see him in Paris, but a friend of mine who just, I don't know what happened. She just ditched me, and I never ended up going. But yeah, I've seen him quite a few. I've seen him enough times that it's a lifetime of seeing them. So.
What's interesting is that I had a girlfriend that was in claims in a nonprofit insurance company, and it was a startup too. And she would just tell me these crazy stories about how her company, they just weren't paying hospitals or doctors. So the hospitals overcharge the insurance companies, knowing that the insurance companies will not pay them 100% of what they're asking for. So at one point, her company went from paying hospitals 80% of what they were asking for. And she just told me one day, we're just hanging out. She's like, oh, yeah, we just decided to drop it down to 70%. It's like, well, what do you mean? You just decide you're just going to stop paying hospitals like that extra 10% and bring it down to 70? It's like, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Well, that's because the hospitals are bill padding, right?
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. They are. Yeah, it is. It's a black box. Most of the time, you don't have any understanding, or a consumer doesn't know how much the hospital actually charges insurance companies, or charges anything. Yeah, for any procedure.
Yeah. It's you see, Dave, you were talking about someone brave. I think it's going to take simply. You say they're getting the money out of politics. It's just you would never be able to eliminate lobbyists, but if you could somehow minimize them.
Yeah,
you could solve 90% of problems. If you got lobbyists out, the NRA would be defunded within a year. You'd have universal health care.
Well, it's a different system in the United States, but from what I understand, if you eliminate PACs and super PACs, you no longer allow those to exist. If you no longer allow people who serve in government to act as a lobbyist within 5 years of them working in the government. So they don't have those ties. They don't have people under a barrel. They don't have sway with people, and you get them out of there as well. You get rid of the gerrymandering so that you appoint a unbiased committee to schedule all of your electoral districts fairly. All of a sudden, the America we're looking at goes from where it is today to center left. There's a center party and there's a left party, and that's it. That's all that would exist. And you drive out 90% of the corruption in the politics, and you'd have to, of course, keep in the limits on donations and the disclosure of donations. And while you're at it, hey, how about making churches pay taxes? Put
All
that in the
beautiful
healthcare
things.
system too.
Well, the thing with you say with I forget what I wanted to say, but yeah, the church, the churches, the small churches that actually do something for the community, you know, I'm fine with them having tax exempt service. It's the ones like the mega churches that are making billions every year, and
Well,
we have
there's
the preachers.
There's nothing wrong with tax disclosure, and you can say all churches pay taxes, but any organization, religious or otherwise, that donates to charity gets tax exemption for those donations. So the small churches won't be affected by by taxation. It's the ones who have 25, like Joyce Myers. She has a $25 million compound with 8 houses on it for her family, who are all on the board of directors of the church, and she has 2 jet airliners. Tax that MFer to death.
Yeah. Well, it also what they call the death tax or the thing you tax those tax. I'm sorry, but why should a kid that's inheriting hundreds of millions of dollars not pay taxes on it? Because it's not like he worked for it; his dad did.
No, but I'm against that.
I've recently joined in a conversation in a little chat.
You're in one now.
Well, yes. But the discussion topic was, should atheists have churches? Should we make churches?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I personally think, regardless of what you call it, we don't have to call it a church. Just a place that we can get together and organize and also have fun with each other. We can, entertain each other, and we can also get together for those who would like to, make changes and want to, organize ideas and make movements. I think, if we took advantage of that as well, I think we could do a lot for our movement of normalizing atheism.
I agree, and the only group that, and this is going to be me plugging the Satanic Temple, by the way, so I'm just going to put that out there right now. The only group that I've really seen to have made a large, community-based organization is the Temple, and I've seen other groups, Sunday Assembly, Sunday Assemblies tried to make that work. I think there's a model of being able to make community-based groups work, but it takes money. It would be and professionals actually trying to do it too. And because Sunday Assemblies were just the idea. Yes, I said idea. Were the ideas of just 2 comedians basically that just kind of caught on. But you need money and you need steady effort doing that kind of stuff, and also the right model. I think a lot of us atheists, we like to do a lot of navel gazing, right? We do a lot of navel gazing, and I think one of the things that would help us to activate people, to energize people, is by focusing on people who need assistance and need help, and really just basic roof over your head, clothes on your back kind of stuff. So there's a way to do it. And a group is doing that right now. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I mean, the ACA has been around for a good while. I think they have a pretty good model. I think they do good.
I still find them a little too cliquey. They're one of those navel gazing organizations that.
Thank you for this. See, Dave just slammed it down. I'm sorry. I'm a Bostonian talking about an Austin group, right? So there is a perception here that the atheist universe does seem to circle around Austin, and I mean that's going to happen one way or the other. Maybe that's just jealousy on my part too.
Well, I mean, everything factors into it, but that's just.
To tell you the truth, I mean the best way. I think that the only way to actually spread atheist communities is by paying someone to be like a Paul, to being like a biblical Paul, and seed organizations and cultivate organizations You wouldn't have to pay the person that much because, you know, they would want to do the work anyway. And you just have a full-time person just going out and cultivating communities.
I think post-COVID, we're Randolph and Neil, the 604 Atheist, and I have talked about putting community events together here, just, you know, secular humanist organization events. And of course, Randolph wants to push the idea of normalizing atheism. That's kind of his train. And I get that part of it. But I think the idea of just inviting strangers to come out and participate in an event for charity that is not affiliated with a religion, that they don't have to feel like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a circle of prayer before we give our time and thank God for us being here because that had anything to do with us being here. Like it drives me a little bit buggy. But post-COVID, I think there's a really good opportunity, especially in a city like Vancouver that's so you know, full of Vancouver is one of those very progressive cities. And if we can't do it here, it probably can't be done anywhere. Well, so we can start and create a map and make people aware of it and get that ball rolling, right?
Community organizing is really difficult, and it requires a certain set of skills and a lot of time and a lot of energy. And definitely kudos to you, Dave, for getting the work done. And I don't want to like crap. I want to go back again, and I don't want to like sound like I'm shitting on Austin because I'm not shitting on Austin.
From Massachusetts, no one ever did that. Yeah.
No one ever did that from Massachusetts because we're a bunch of massholes anyway. And John Hudson asked about navel gazing. There seems to be a certain amount of from the atheist groups that I'm going to try to couch this term nicely. From the atheist groups that I have seen, there has been much more concern about not a lot of focus on doing good in the world, more of a philosopher's discussion group or a how I'm feeling group. And those are important, but I think to energize people, you have to get them something to do, right? You have to get them something to do. And
the
that
ATA gets out there and they will do food drives and things of that nature. They get out there and get their hands dirty with things.
Right. What group is that?
The Austin community.
Atheist community.
Am I going to say it backwards? Yeah. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
And there's other groups that do that as well. And when I participate with my old church group or other groups in Vancouver, I tell them, you know, I'm not religious at all. You know, like I'm here as a secular humanist who's just doing good for other people. When we have a blood club and we go donate blood, and they all know
blood club.
We're trying to build that up as well.
Yeah.
Well, I've always said that. You see, a way that we could get around it, and we could actually that you do it is you just call it a religion, or just call atheism like we'll go under the Jedi religion, and that way we can just we can suck people in and tell them the truth.
Well, you know what the temple did was that they took a pre-existing social group, and this is my analysis of what helped makes the temple is that they took a pre-existing subculture, identified it, and said, well, we're going to go with this. There is a need out there, and we're going to speak to those people and their needs. And I think that's one of the things that make them successful.
Yeah,
I think what they have to steer clear of, one of the things the ACA does, and there's a few other cliquey little groups that have kind of one or two social media presences that have a good following, but they have a periphery around them. And they're trying to increase the community and increase the online content and normalize atheism and do all that stuff. But they're pushing in the direction of, oh, so-and-so needs, X number of subscribers to get to monetization.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the push, rather than if you create good content and you are intelligent about it, if you're funny, if you're likable, if you're watchable, if you're participating in the community, people will watch, they will share, they will like, they will subscribe. and you will get there.
As an entertainer, I'd like to speak to that for a minute.
Yes, please.
Because my kid, is starting to stream on Twitch, and she's a good artist. So she's just been drawing and talking to people. And I just told her, it's like, look, and she was talking about all the better artists out there that have mass followings. It's like, well, one, I have to tell you something, just because they, the person who is the most talented aren't the person who's going to do the best online. It's the person who does social media the best.
Yes.
That being said, it is unfortunately social media and the algorithm. It does make people want to form cliques. I would not be as successful as I am as a blogger if I wasn't on Pathos. I was blogging before Pathos, and my numbers were horrible. And so yeah, it is unfortunately just part of the business of, and one of the many reasons why this channel isn't very successful, may I say that, is that I'm not part of a clique. I do comedy, and comedy acts as like this kind of thing that brings people in. You can see the posts I do on this channel, that there is some stuff that I just do just to get new people in, to get new subscribers in. They're just comedy bits. There might be informational kind of bits, and then there are things like this, which is more like just hanging out with people who are already subscribers. So yeah, it's a hard lift.
But Andy, you have to admit, I mean, outside of the first 15 minutes that we kind of threw in the toilet,
right?
Outside of that, the content in a stream like this as a discussion group has been a good discussion that if people are watching, they'll want to see it again.
I would hope so, yeah.
I would think so. So you're going to get to the point where, like anything on social media, it'll crawl up slowly and get to a point where the algorithms change and you get pushed a little too high, and all of a sudden your exposure becomes far greater.
Well, that's the other thing. It's about punctuated equilibrium, right? It's just like everything goes normal. I know I rant about punctuated equilibrium every once in a while. Things go normal for a while, and then suddenly you get leveled up.
Yeah.
And things change, can change really quickly while you plateau out again for a period of time.
There's this idea that gets passed around in the music, community that, you just got to keep your band together and you just got to keep playing, because some of them have been there for like 10 to 20 years and nobody fucking heard them. And then one day it pops and then it catches. There's a bunch of bands I can name that.
And I think it's way harder to be successful as a musical artist now than it is to be a social media influencer now.
It's a crowded field, no matter what you do. But I like that. I like that, Tobin, because this is what I tell people too. It's you got to keep. I try to run my online stuff like I would be running an insurgent army, and as long as I keep myself active and busy and thinking about the content that I'm doing, and I've seen it before. I've seen things like go viral that I've done, and so that's what's important, is just staying busy, staying active, and thinking about what you're doing and changing and creating good content. Yeah.
And I think there's a certain amount of you have to focus on a platform, but you also have to gain the exposure. Like if you're on YouTube and you're not making TikTok videos, you're missing something. If you're not on Twitter, you're missing something. You have to involve those. But if you don't focus on YouTube as your primary outlet, you're not going to grow your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And something to keep in mind, I think, just on a personal note, to keep yourself going. And I loathe to use the word, but I can't think of another one. But you are representing a minority as an atheist as well. So there's not as many people to appeal to begin with. So you're always going to have smaller numbers.
Yeah.
But, someone's got to do the hard slog, Andy. So,
right.
And that's why our $2 here or there that we can chuck out,
Yes,
I
much
think
appreciated.
I think that number is skewed drastically, especially because I live in a progressive city where I know when I talk to people and I say, "What are you?" and they say, "Oh, I'm a Baptist." "Oh, what do you do at church?" "Oh, I don't go to church. That's just what my family is." But that's what they put on their census, right? So it's getting to the point now where we have to make people aware that it's okay to check the none box.
Yeah.
N-O-N-E, not N-U-N. The none, religion none.
Yeah.
And I mean, they didn't have an option for none a while ago. So a bunch of us wrote in Jedi, and that became an official religion in Canada, right?
Right. That's brilliant. All right, everyone. It's been over an hour. I got to go do stuff before I do the Jenga show. And Tobin, I might use some of that song there.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna play around with it maybe and put a clip in at the very beginning. So much appreciated with that song, dude. Hey, Ian, thank you for your support. Almost didn't see that. I appreciate the support.
Thanks, Ian.
Yeah. So everyone, I'm going to be back here at 3:00 to do some Jenga, and then of course we're doing this crazy thing all over again tomorrow.
All right.
Are you planning on doing the Disappointed Cat after show and morning show for the rest of the week? Are you good, or do you have
everything but Friday? Everything but Friday, because like I said, man, I'm going to be driving. By the time the Cat show would be on, I think I'll be past New York City in the car.
How long does it take to get to Carolina?
It's going to take me 12 hours. It's going to take me 12 hours.
But you're not doing the show until you get back from there. You're not doing it.
Right. So in other words, I will be back here on Sunday night. I'm going to do the show on Monday. So because I'm crazy, dude. I'm crazy. So
you are.
I'm going to be doing the show on Monday after getting back on Sunday night. So my Sunday morning is Cat, open room, and then go to work.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it? So I saw something about North Carolina saying they're opening all the restaurants and no one has to wear masks in restaurants at all anymore. Like at least that's what I heard.
Yeah, we're being careful. I've gotten my jab, my first jab. I'm getting my second jab on Thursday. My girlfriend's fully vaccinated, but we're still careful. We're still careful.
Yeah. Well, I applied. Apparently, like now it's 40 and over in Ontario. Problem is, I don't know if it's the vaccine I want to get because it's AstraZeneca one, which I'd much rather wait for the Pfizer one, because apparently the Pfizer one's a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, we could just talk about that for quite a while.
Save it for tomorrow. We'll start with that.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, everyone. Take care.
Well,
Thanks
later.
again.
Have a good day.
And I hit the magic button.